here's the big question. You're interested in value investing and valuing and evaluating businesses on a deep level, but you don't know how, even after researching for hours, probably dozens of hours, hundreds of hours on the internet, and because nobody else shows you how to do it. This podcast has all those answers and much more about value investing in finance. My name is Jason Rivera. Welcome to Value Investing in Your Car. Hey, Jason here. In this episode of Value Investing in Your Car, I'm going to talk about or answer the question, what is capital? Before we get to that, I need to remind you this series is available as a podcast anywhere in the world for free. It's available for free on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Anchor, Spotify, and all major podcasting platforms for free. So, I've been talking more lately about capital allocation and its importance and stuff like that. I've posted various different things on the blog, via email to our email list, in the Facebook and our social media pages, the Facebook group, Value Investing Journey Facebook group, and our social media pages, and also with my students. This past weekend, every Sunday, we usually meet every Sunday. So yeah, this past Sunday, I had a great training with one of my students on capital allocation and its importance. And we talked about, I've built out for consulting clients, after studying for 12 plus years, thousands of companies, countless articles, books, videos, whatever, I put together what I see as the 7 stages of capital allocation. This is based off study of, or in large part due to people like Warren Buffett, Henry Singleton, Tom Murphy, Charlie Munger, and others. This is how I see the 7 stages of capital allocation working. We talked about for an hour and a half, 2 hours almost in total, and we covered stage 1, part 1. And there are 9 parts in just stage 1, things that I consider important to make proper capital allocation decisions. Things you need to think through, things you need to consider, and all that. So we got about halfway through the discussion, and my student asked, "What is capital?" And that's a great question, frankly, and I haven't answered it before, so I wanted to talk about it here to you as well. Is what is capital? Capital allocation together is allocating capital well. To me, capital allocation is allocating your capital towards its best, highest, safest return use. That's to me what capital allocation is. But what is capital of the capital allocation part? To me, let me back up. So most people think of capital as money, pretty much only. And it is. That is one facet of capital. But capital is, to me, a lot more than that. I need to preface this saying, obviously, I'm not an academic. This is again, after 12 years of study, evaluating thousands of companies, reading countless books, watching videos, YouTube, financial statements, all this. My definition of capital allocation, or capital, involves money, time, skills, knowledge, relationships, what else? And there are more that I will hopefully think of in a minute. Essentially, my definition of capital is something of value that you have that you can exchange to another person, and they give you something of value as well, or that's at least the hope. So my definition of capital is a lot more broad than most people. Why is that? Frankly, because as I've gotten older and with my years of experience in value investing and finance, to me it's the truth. Is this is all, capital includes all of these things. Why? Let me give you a real world example. If I'm looking to do something but I don't know how to do it and I don't want to do it, and I don't want to learn how to do it, if I have enough relationships with people, and I have people with relationships in my circle that I can contact to help me with these issues, I can trade with them money, my knowledge and experience, my courses, these kind of things, content, whatever, my consulting abilities, my analysis abilities, whatever. I can trade all of this for their ability to help me fix an issue that I don't know how to fix and don't want to learn how to fix. That's one example. Time is another big one. Time is another big piece of capital. Essentially, when you do anything, for example, I'm talking to you right now, am I using my time efficiently? Is there something better I could be doing with my time? Is this going to bring value to other people that's going to make my time worth it? These are some of the considerations you need to think about with capital allocation. I'm essentially trading my time and my knowledge and skills and trying to give you value. That's essentially what I'm doing with all of these videos, blog posts, podcast episodes, whatever. I'm trying to give my capital, in this case, knowledge, time, skill sets, to you to give you value. That's what I'm doing. So I'm exchanging capital. Am I spending enough time with my kids? Should I spend more time with my kids? Should I spend more time working? Should I spend more time with my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever? What should I spend my time watching TV or reading? Should I spend my time playing video games or working out? Capital allocation, this is why it's so important, and most of the people I talk to about this, it's typically in the investment and finance world, of course, but it's in every single day of your life. How you choose to spend your time, how do you choose to spend your money, how do you choose to use your knowledge and skills. All of these things are capital allocation decisions if you sit down to think about them. Why? So this is why, to me, it's so important to be a good capital allocator at a personal level and figure out not necessarily the best way to use your time, but to you, what is the best way to use your time. Sometimes for me, it's at this time of night. I'm recording this at 6 o'clock at night. Most nights by now, I'm done with most of my work for the day. I spend my time either learning, hanging out with my kids, or some kind of combination. I'm making these videos tonight for this and other videos for you tonight because I want to. I've been thinking about these things a lot, and I want to get this value to you so you can begin thinking about it as well. So here's another real world example of capital allocation. I have water in here. Pretty much 100% of the time I drink water. I don't drink soda very rarely anymore. I drink alcohol very rarely. I drink water pretty much almost 100% of the time because of my health issues, mostly in the past, but over, again, the last 3 months or so, 3.5 months, I've been really sick off and on again. So I'm trying to get healthier so I can make more of these videos for you, spend better time with my kids, not feel terrible all the time, that kind of stuff. So my capital allocation decision is to drink more water instead of soda and these kind of things. Another example is years ago I cut out pretty much all TV. I don't watch hardly any TV anymore unless it's NFL football when that's in season, and the occasional soccer game, World Cup, UEFA Champions League, some kind of big game or big match. That's pretty much all I watch anymore on TV when it comes to TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, all these kind of things. I don't watch any of it really anymore. I'd rather spend my time making these kind of videos with you, spending time with my kids, coaching my kids' soccer team, reading, working, learning. I was going to say relaxing, but I don't really relax much. But these kind of decisions are, I've chosen the priority, and this is a perfect way that I put it the good way that I put it when I was talking to my student the other day, is essentially with capital allocation, you're prioritizing one thing over another because it's more important to you at that point in time that you be doing whatever you're doing. Again, eating junk food is more important to me right now, or is eating a salad more important to me? Is working out more important to me? Is getting another 2 hours of sleep more important to me? All these things are capital allocation decisions. And when I've been thinking about this I've known about capital allocation for years, but I've just probably the last 2 or 3 years specifically I've been putting a ton of thought in these kind of things and putting them on paper, and again sharing some of this stuff with my students and consulting clients and stuff like that. And it's incredibly important. But why? Because if you have big goals, big dreams like I do, if you just even want to improve yourself a little bit, just get a little bit better each day, which I try to do every day, I think that's incredibly powerful over time, the compounding effect of constantly improving yourself. So I'm a huge believer in that as well. Thinking about these things has helped me become healthier, helped me not overcome, but control, for the most part, my dizziness issues unless I'm sick or moving around a lot or that kind of stuff. It's helped me improve pretty much infinite number of ways I could think of. Helped me in my marriage, helped me with my relationship with my kids, helped me with my friendships, and having more free time, I guess. I don't relax, I'm always doing something, but it helps in literally, I bet if you came up with a scenario, I could say that's either a poor capital allocation decision or it's a bad capital allocation decision based on your personal preferences and what you want. So here's where another twist comes in. Is this changes day to day, hour to hour, minute by minute, and each person's capital allocations are different because emotion comes into play, biases come into play, previous experiences come into play, your attitude at that particular point in time come into play. Did I get enough sleep last night and I'm in a good mood, so I'm going to work out this morning? Did I not get enough sleep, so I'm going to go back to bed? Or am I going to force myself to still get up? And all that kind of stuff. Another layer, and this is what I called the training with my student, is one of my students, is the many layers of capital allocation. So let's talk about getting up early in the morning. I'm now allocating my time to work to get up at 5:30 every morning. Why? I've never done that in the past. I've tried to, and I've never been able to. Now it's finally working. Why? I'm now stretching and exercising a little bit every morning. Again, trying to get healthy, trying to get not be as sick as much, trying to have more energy, trying to see if I can get my business better, all this kind of stuff. But it's finally working, the 5:30 waking up in the morning. I do that so I can still get my kids ready for school in the morning, so I can take them to school. And so I have enough time to do that and not be rushing. I also have, it gives me more time to learn in the morning, listen to a podcast or whatever, audiobook, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I'm choosing to allocate my time more, trying to get away from sleeping as much as I was, allocating that time to gaining knowledge, getting healthier, being a good dad, essentially, when you break it down to those levels. Going back to every person's decision is different. So we all have different biases. We all have different wants, needs, desires, dreams, whatever. So if I give you the exact same scenario that I'm dealing with right now in my mind, your answer may be completely different. Maybe you want to watch TV. Maybe you want to relax. Maybe you want to do whatever. And capital allocation isn't necessarily bad or good. It just depends on, is it bad or good for your situation at your point in time right now. This, and again, this changes a lot every single day. Again, maybe I'm not in a good mood and I just want to eat a cookie, for example, even though I'm trying to get healthy, instead of eating a salad or a fruit or whatever. This is a daily battle, grind, whatever you want to call it, for me to try to improve myself. And it will be, if you go down this path as well, a daily grind, battle, discipline, whatever you want to call it. But just thinking about these things has made me, in my opinion, a better dad, better husband, better entrepreneur, business person, better investor, better for you guys, making more content, because instead of watching TV, I'm making more content. Better for my students, because I can be present with my students instead of worrying about being on my phone or hearing a text message or something like that. All these things. But again, some days often I don't want to do things like this. And I make the, in my opinion, wrong capital allocation decision. Capital allocation is not easy. I've studied this for 12 plus years. After value investing specifically, the two things I've studied most are investment flow and capital allocation. So I've studied this an enormous amount, and I've thought about it an enormous amount over the last however many years. Incredibly powerful mental model, thought process, that because even if you're thinking about, for example, if your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, whatever, is mad at you, should I continue to make it worse? Probably bad capital allocation, by arguing and doing stuff that I know is going to make it worse. Should I try to make it better? Should I do nothing at all, which is still a decision? Should I leave the room? Should I give her a hug, give him a hug, whatever? These are all capital allocation decisions that could have varying effects. And the same thing is true with companies. Should I invest in internal operations? If so, which internal operations should I invest in? Which ones are earning my highest return? Which would give me the highest return if I were to invest in them? Is it marketing, sales, operations, finance, HR, whatever? There are, essentially, if you go down the rabbit hole far enough, there are an infinite number of capital allocation decisions that you need to think about, consider, be aware of, whatever. And for most people, this is something else I told my student the other day, is there are I was reading this in a book and I still can't remember. I couldn't remember it the other day and I still can't remember it, but there are essentially four areas for human understanding. Things you know that you know, things you know that you don't know, things you don't know that you know, and things you don't know that you don't know. For most people, capital allocation comes in the last option, the things you don't know that you don't know, and it's an enormously important component, again, of everyday life, business, finance, investing, whatever you want to use it for. It's an incredibly powerful mental model, way of thinking, thought process, whatever. And again, most people don't know anything about it. If they do, they don't know how to do it well. So for these companies over in the UAE and India that I'm working to help with, or looking to help, and maybe some in New York as well, is you go from the top down level. That's where I start, at least, is the top level, grand strategy. What do you want to accomplish? What is your vision for the company? All that kind of stuff. Then I get as granular as what return is this company, or what return is this product or service line earning. Can get as granular as that. So it can go from grand level strategy all the way to the most granular topic, and there are layers to everything. Again, we spent an hour and a half talking this past weekend about capital allocation, and we covered stage one, part one of my notes, and I think they're at this point 700 words, and most of those are bullet points, so it's not very many words in each point. 700 words and 7 stages and probably 50 or 60 sub-steps, and I'm constantly adding to it. Again, this is why capital allocation is so hard. And we've talked about what capital is, why capital allocation is so hard, the many layers of it, the decisions that come with it, and how emotions affect this. Then you throw in opportunity cost as well, which is essentially what I'm doing right now. Would my time, opportunity cost is the cost to doing something or not doing something. So for example, right now, I'm doing this with you to give you value, but my opportunity cost has gone to spend time with my kids, to read, learn, whatever. Does the benefit outweigh the cost of the opportunity? Essentially, is another way to put it. And again, this affects everything on a daily basis, whether you do something or not do something. So if you make a decision to lay around and play video games all day, you're essentially trading your time, again, capital, that you could be using to improve yourself, to volunteer, to do whatever you want to do, frankly. This is why it gets very complex very, 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 very fast once you start thinking about it. And this is why in the book The Outsiders, which talks about great capital allocators, I think there are only 7 or 8 that meet their criteria of great capital allocators. 7 or 8 ever. All time. That's it. That fit their criteria, which is just absolutely insane. And Buffett not mimics this, but says something similar, is that over his 50 plus year career, he's met a handful of what he considers great capital allocators. He's been in business for 50 plus years. So, because if you understand these things, and again, most people do not, even business owners, know nothing about any of this. Nothing. Zero about any of this, because they come from backgrounds in marketing, sales, operations, to a lesser degree HR, these kind of things for the most part. If they do come from finance, it's from a strictly financial, like university background, where they don't talk about capital allocation whatsoever. So almost every CEO in the world, doesn't matter the size of the company, unless they're in the billionaire stratosphere, most people in the world know nothing about capital, or in a real sense, or capital allocation. If they do, they don't know enough about it to make these decisions. And even if they do that, which is a subset of people, most people don't have the mindset or the emotional stability and discipline to continue to make great capital allocation decisions. Because you have to do it over the long term. Every single day, you have to try to make the best capital allocation decisions you can, which will explode your results. I have a presentation I built that essentially shows, or talks, where I talk about how Buffett turned $100,000 in initial capital, which is what he got from friends and family when he started his partnership, and he turned it into $530 billion. That is the power of great capital allocation. He essentially spends 100% of his time for the last 20, 30, 40 years outside of the Solomon, when he had to go be the CEO, short-term CEO of Solomon when they were in trouble, reading, learning, thinking about capital allocation. By his own words, that's what he says he spends almost 100% of his day doing. And that's how he turned $100,000 into $530 billion. That is the power of capital allocation. Here's another example is there was a study, and again, I can't remember where this is from off the top of my head, but there was a study done that shows great capital allocators 20x company returns over the long term. Not 20%, 20x. So what is that, 2,000%? Improve the results of shareholder returns by 20x or 2,000% over the long term, compared to, I think it was compared to, I don't think there was a comparison now I think about it. It was great capital allocators, and there was everybody else. So this capital allocation is enormously important. And again, everyday life decisions affect this, or affect your capital allocation and your capital situation. So I wanted to share this with you because I thought the conversation I had with my student during our weekly training was fantastic. And I hope this brings you a ton of value. If you have any questions, this is can get very complex and very, very, very fast. So if I didn't explain anything well enough, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to do my best to explain it a different way. I can't emphasize the importance of this skill set. If you can develop it, if you learn about it, and you have the proper mindset and emotional stability and discipline, enormously powerful. Again, the best way I can say is this is how Warren Buffett turned $100,000 into $530 billion. That's the best way I can think of at this point in time to put it. That is what great capital allocation and great knowledge of capital does for you. And for me personally, even though I didn't know what it was back when I first started fixing my business issues, I just took one step at a forward every single day, even though I was making no progress, even though I was making myself terrible for no reason, because I wasn't getting any better for 3 to 6 months at a time. But then I slowly started getting better, slowly started to improve, and without me allocating my capital, again, time, to getting better, slowly, zero progress for 3 to 6 months, and then slowly after that, for literally years, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. When you throw in proper capital allocation with compounding, results explode exponentially. Again, $100,000 to $530 billion. That's a perfect example. I hope this has helped. I hope you find value in this. Love to hear your comments, questions, thoughts below, wherever you're watching. Remember, this is a podcast now available anywhere in the world for free as well. And make sure to like, love, share, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified every time we release a new video. And make sure, if you're listening on the podcast, to subscribe as well. Like, love, share, all that kind of stuff too. Deeply appreciate it. And I'm sure after I make this video, I'll think that I know that I'll think of something that I missed and want to talk about. But that's the beauty of this kind of format, is I can make more videos about capital allocation because it's my channel. So this is why YouTube and podcasts and all this kind of blogging is so powerful and all that. It's truly amazing to me. Again, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.